that like face I was like,
I kind of hope your eyes.
Stop smiling.
You can stop. It's live.
Oh, so we're live now. Okay, we're 15 seconds in.
I know. Everybody's still in shock. Okay, everybody go share.
Okay.
I'm sharing right now. Do we have anybody on?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Marina, make sure you click over to comments and not private chat.
There we go.
I'm on comments.
Okay.
This is the part where all of us look down like we're crazy.
Kyle's watching. Hey, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Guys, how come I forget how to share like every time?
I'm gonna drive. This is the part where we're gonna do comments. Crazy.
My phone's lighting, so I
We have
can't
4
hear.
people.
Oh my
on.
gosh, it is me looking weird. Wait.
I'm gonna drive.
It's
How do I
okay.
shut this thing up?
What is? We've lost control already.
Things are off to a great start. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
While we're all waiting for everybody to jump on, we have Josh with us in the house.
Woo!
Josh, say
I'm
hello.
so excited.
Hi, everyone.
Josh is super excited to be here.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody's noticed, he's always the first to comment, and he's been dying to.
Well, I wanted to come on, but I had this fear that my episode would be so well received that they would be like, just come back, do another one. And then it turns into 5. And then next thing you know, they're wanting me to have a seat. It's like The View. They want me to be part of the table all the time. And I just don't want to take away
We're just
from
in
your
different
thing.
rooms of the house, but
Yeah.
so you have your own
I just
computer.
didn't want to take away from the thing you guys had going on.
You're so crazy.
Okay. When you hop
Pops is on.
Hi. Who is?
Pops.
Oh,
Ola
hola, Pops.
paid that student loan.
So, guys, we are so excited about tonight. We're just going to do that to what they just said. But we are so excited about tonight. I'm excited because Josh is my brother.
Yes.
And so this is really special. And we did the Mother's Day, so I'm excited to do the Father's Day. And as you're hopping on, we're going to be asking Josh questions. Oh, that was different.
Josh.
We are going to be asking Josh questions. So if you get on and you have a question for him about Father's Day or just about his life, anything, please feel free to comment because we're going to ask some questions, but I know we'd love to hear your questions. So be sure to comment and let us know when you're hopping on, who you are, because it doesn't show me.
Yes. Say hi when you get on.
Awesome. All right. So, Josh,
Hi.
tell us a little bit about yourself before we ask questions like how old you are, where you live, that kind of thing.
Who
you
you're
want-
married to.
Do you want me to give out my social too, or just?
If you're feeling it, but you don't have to.
My name's Josh Standifer. I'm in 3rd grade. No, I'm just kidding.
Fun
I'm
fact
Andrew.
about yourself.
I'm Annika's husband. We live. I don't know what you want to say. I mean, I feel like a lot of people on here know me, but if you don't,
No, because Laurel has people who watch and Raina have people who watch.
Okay. This is like worldwide.
I mean, we're pretty much a
Eight
big
cities.
deal.
No, I'm 33. We live in Tennessee, and I don't know, just I don't really. I feel like I'm excited about being here, and just kind of whatever you guys want to jump in and talk about, I'm down for. But I think it's really cool. Father's Day is an important day. I think for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, you have your earthly fathers, but I think it's important too that the tie in what the Lord does too with our heavenly Father. So I'm excited about tonight. What I'll say.
I know, I can't stop laughing.
Yeah, Pops, I'll get the Netflix password for you. Don't worry. But no, I'm just really excited about being here. I know you guys have some things, so we can jump in, have
Yes.
some fun.
Yes. Okay. Raina, you want to ask him his first question?
Hold on, I got to pull up the notes.
Okay. I should probably pull it up as
These
well.
are-
I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask like a simple question starting off. So you have 4 kids. What?
It just feels like I'm in a debate. Like, we're going to start with an easy topic, and then we're going to ease into foreign policy. Okay, so.
Pretty much. Okay, so
Go ahead.
you have 4 kids. Did you plan to have 4 kids? Was that your goal?
Amanda?
Okay.
You know, we've always wanted a big family, but we didn't necessarily plan the last 2. But I'm always of the thought of like, we want a huge family. So is she, but the more we have, it's kind of like, okay, can we have another one? I don't know. But we've always just kind of been blessed where when we decided we wanted to have kids, we're like, all right, we're going to try to have a baby with Solomon. We had Solomon, and then the rest we've just kind of been blessed with, where it was just, they're like surprises, like, hey, you're having a baby. So it's part of the plan. We've always wanted a big family, but I don't know. There wasn't like, we haven't actually been like, let's have a baby this time. It's just kind of, here we are. We have 4 kids. It's crazy.
Okay, and then one thing to add to that. So when you became a dad for the first time, having Solomon, hey Miller, we love you. So when you had Solomon, was there a moment where you felt like your life changed? Like now that you're a dad, you were different, or something just shifted inside of you?
Yeah, I think.
A father.
Yeah, for sure. I think becoming a parent's the coolest thing. And I told her it's like the most instinctual thing you'll ever do. It's just crazy. It's like 5 minutes prior, you have no clue how to do anything. You see a baby and you have it, and all of a sudden it's like she's like a professional, and it's just like boom, it like clicks. It's crazy. Or at least that's how it was in our situation, I felt like. So yeah, no, you did. It's definitely shifted my priorities a lot. I think I would say, that's kind of like my number one, like, family, taking care of the family has become like the main thing for me, on like the earthly level, I guess. Cause there's going to be that one guy watching this like, well, spiritually, God's supposed to be number one. And it's like, yeah, I know that. And of course he is, but, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's like my main priority. But yeah, no, it definitely, for me, having kids was like, oh, I get to like redo everything. It's like, and give them a life, that, and the relationships and everything I always wanted. So
I think you should share your first funny moment with Solomon.
the chair. I'm not even going to the hospital because we've had some beef. But so Solomon's just a few hours old, and we were blessed that this hospital gave me like a little plastic chair to sleep in, and it was like it was awesome. And so the chair would recline, and literally I had it closed. I'm holding him, and I've got decent sized hands. I'm holding him like this, kind of like length of my arm, I guess. And I
For
sit,
some bonding time.
yeah, you got to do the skin to skin, and you got to do all that crap. So I'm sitting there, and I've got my hand like this. And I sit down in the chair, and it reclines. And it doesn't just reclines, it flies me backwards like a movie and folds in half. So I literally have him like this. We go flying backwards. I have such a grip on his head, we don't move. But Annika can't get up because she's like numb.
I had a C-section. I'm like, no!
So I'm like ninja kicking my legs to try to get up. And I finally shimmy up, and I'm like, this piece of crap hospital. Like, what is it?
He's like a beetle that's stuck on its back. And
It's like when you see someone, their head in the sand, their legs are like kicking in the air,
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
And if you know Josh, it's just funny because he's just a funny person. So it's so him.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I'll never forget it.
All right, Raina, what's your first question?
Okay. With you being head of the house and carrying all the responsibilities that come with that, how do you manage?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. It's an honor to be here tonight again, and thank you for having me. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not gonna make it through this.
It does feel a little town hall-y, doesn't it? Like.
Hey, listen, Josh, if you feel something though, just do whatever.
No. Okay, so repeat the question of what.
How do you manage being the head of the house?
Sometimes you don't. It's tough. You got to figure your crap out. For me, it's kind of like I always like sports, and there's kind of like a saying like do your job. And I'm not saying that being the head of the household is like do your job, but of course you're going to be tired, and there's going to be stuff you want to do, and events or things you want to go to. But at the end of the day, kind of like when you sign up to like get married and have kids, well, you have responsibilities. And if you're a believer, well, biblically, you're the priest of your home. That's like the first, what we're called to do. And for me, it's been a learning process with that, but it's kind of like the basics of it is like, well, if most importantly, I got to take care of this first. So, it's tough at times, but at the end of the day, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was talking about working out and getting in shape. And the guy was like, I'm tired. I run a company. I've got kids. At the end of the day, that's all just crap. It's excuses. And so like, that's kind of how I feel. It's like, a lot of those things that you can justify or rationale in your head, like, well, I'm tired. I don't want to like go full, like really spend time with the kids before I tuck them into bed. I'm going to like autopilot a little bit. Everyone's a parent knows what I'm talking about right now. Like, where it's kind of like you just check out, you're like going through the motions, or you can really like bring it and like have a good time. Like tonight, I've had a crazy weekend. I've worked all weekend really late. And Solomon tonight was like, I want to show you all these Legos I built. And they're pretty, and they're legit. Like, he's like, I built these without instructions. And he's like, I'm the best Lego builder in the world, Dad. And he's like, I was like, I think you could be, bro. But he shows me all these Legos, and I could have like mailed it in and be like, oh, those are great. Yeah, awesome. But instead I sat down. I was like, well, tell me what, why the spider one? Why'd you make it like this? Or tell me about the ship. I like how you did this thing to it, And it like, we had a great little evening. So I think a lot of people feel like, or at least, I've been guilty of this. You try to like have these crazy experiences and, do all these things for family. But at the end of the day, it's more like the little things. Like we do devotion in the mornings together. We try to do communion every day together as a family, as part of that. Just trying to do those little things to kind of take care of your nest. And then, also not mail it in, like go that extra mile. And so I feel like for me, it's kind of my mantra. Like, this is like, what I've got to do. Like, there's no excuses. I just got to do it. That's our top priority.
And I was going to say that time with Solomon probably only took 5 minutes, but it was so special to him and like important to him.
For sure.
He valued it.
Thank you for the question.
And I just want to say real quick too, that's how the Father is like with our time too. Like he'd rather have 5 minutes where we're like seriously engaged with him.
Yeah.
And like really spending time with him than an hour where we're on autopilot.
Yeah. It's about, don't be psychologically absent, or that's a big thing in our house.
Guilty
we
of.
We talk about, and it's not necessarily quantity, but quality, like focus on something John told me. It's like, it's not quantity, it's quality. Like, what can you do? I think being the priest of your home is understanding too, that when you have a big family like ours, each person's different. So like, how can I speak that person's language? Because what's going to work with Eliana is not going to work with Abigail, and what's going to work with Solomon is not going to work with the other one, Azariah. So it's
the other one.
that new one. But it's understanding each person, and because I would say that's a mirror of how God loves us, because we all kind of like, you'll hear people talk about how they feel the love of the Father. Everyone says that, but everyone feels it differently, right? Or like different experiences. So I think to me that's kind of like a reflection of that. And being a dad, I would say I see a lot of things where I'm like, oh, I totally get like where like a scripture, would mean something. Like for me, the one where it's like childlike faith, read that a bazillion times. But when I looked at my kids, they were wanting something and they were just like, hey, Dad, take care of this. And it was like, okay, I got it. And it was like over. Like they knew it was like good. We were solid. And seeing that kind of like hit me. I was like, this is what childlike faith is like. Like they know I'm going to do this. They know I'm going to take care of it. And they're not worrying about it. Like they're not in the room having a panic attack that I'm not going to come bring them like what I said I was going to bring them.
Right.
Like they just know I'm going to do it. And so those are the little things too that have kind of like helped me grow.
That's cool. I love it.
Okay, if you're just hopping on, we're doing a little Father's Day special, asking Josh questions. So if you get on, please tell us you're watching. Say hey.
Or if you're watching in a replay, drop something in the comments. Maybe I'll jump in and answer your question.
And if you have a question for Josh, type it out and he will answer it too. Okay. Do you want me to go easy or medium or hard on my question?
I feel like this is like, how spicy do you want your curry?
How
You know?
spicy do you want it?
I don't care. Just go.
Just go for it.
I can plead the fifth, or you know.
Okay.
Love you too, Miller.
There was a time in our marriage when you were unemployed and I had to go back to work for a season while we figured out what we were doing. What was that season like for you? What were the highs and what were the lows?
This is fake news. No, I'm just kidding. This really happened. It was different. So for me, it's 2016.
Yes. 2017.
It was into 2016 because the election ended. So I work in politics in DC, and my contract got dropped, and it was kind of like, you know, but it was really kind of like an eye-opening thing, but it was also, it was scary, and I'm always kind of like the go-getter, and like, I'm just going to figure this thing out. So I'm like, I'm going to start business. I'm going to do this. I almost joined another company in DC. It didn't work out. But it kind of, for me, was really stressful and hard because I've always been the one going out to like, I'm going to go, you know, work and I'm going to do this. And, you know, I'll travel and do all these things and try to take care of the family. And it just was reversed. And I'm sitting at home with the kids, and I'm not, you know, I'm really good with the kids. I'm not great like Aunt. She's like amazing. But patience is something I was having to learn. It was just, so, like, I didn't realize this, but I was talking to my friend, Rachel, at Cheesemo, and I went to a Titans game, and I'd finally, like, you know, I got unemployed, so I was like, I'm going to buy season tickets to the Titans, because it's what you do when you're unemployed. So, and I remember going to the game, and I was like, I felt so numb.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought I'd be more excited. I thought this would be fun. I was like, it's whatever. And I was like, this feels so weird. And I was talking to her about it, and she's like, you sound like you were depressed. And I was like, maybe I was. And I just didn't really realize. You know, I was kind of like in a funk. So it was hard for me to get out of that for a while. But
was there some good?
Yeah, no, I got to spend a lot of time with the kids and grow as a dad for sure. And I think you got to help your dad out, which was a plus, you know, you were needed there.
Yeah, it was. I didn't have to like go to some like really whatever. I got to work for my dad. So it was like the best case scenario still for us. But
and you got lunch.
I got lunch every day. That's a big
deal.
deal.
You know, for me, it was kind of like it got to the point where I was like, okay, I've got to end this weepathon and get my crap together and move on. And that, you know, I started my own business and it started picking up. But I really appreciated Grace during it because you were really supportive and helping me do all those things. So I'm dropping viewers, guys. We need to spice this up.
No,
we were at 8. They heard me talking. We peaked down to 4. I got to get this back up.
You can't even look at that. Don't even look at that
I'm
because
just
that
kidding.
doesn't matter.
I want to say, too, that, you know, being somebody that watched it all, I think it was cool to see the growth in you guys and how, you know, when you go through seasons like that, any pride that's there literally falls off. And but it's cool too how like God gave you guys an opportunity to start something.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I haven't like I'm kind of the person where I don't really stop and like I'm not going to journal for 3 hours about my feelings. I'm not going to like go in depth on it. So I don't necessarily look back so much. So like, this is kind of like the first time I've really stopped and thought about some of this stuff in a while, like going like, you know.
So this is good for you.
Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah.
I was going to say too, during that time, it wasn't necessarily because he was unemployed, but there was just so many things that happened during that season of We had a new baby. We moved. Our house flooded.
Yeah.
He broke his. Hang on, just let me say this real quick. There were so many things that happened that our marriage was struggling so badly then as well.
There's a lot of stress.
There was just so much stress, and
Okay.
it's understandable. But I was going to say, like she was talking about growth, like the Lord brought us out of so much.
No,
What
but
do you want
I
to
feel
say?
like, hold on, I feel like you undersold though. You like when she talks about like the craziness of the stress, like we have Abigail, she's 2 weeks old. Thank God Annika's mom comes and visits with us. And she's like, I'm going to sleep downstairs on the couch. It's like, that's great, you know, and Annika gets it set up. Abby's 2 weeks old. She runs upstairs. She's like, hey, Josh, your house is flooding. And I'm like, what? I hop up. Annika could sleep through anything. She stays asleep. I hop up and I run down the steps. And I thought, okay, we're going to have some water issue, okay? I didn't realize it was like the Titanic. Like, I fly
Like
down the
inches
steps.
of water.
I'm running, so, and it's like steep, you know, it's in DC or outside DC, so it's steep, you know, and I hit the steps, go flying through the air, hit a brick fireplace, crack my foot in half, and then I get up and I'm like, I've got to do something. And I go and I open the closet, and it literally looks like Titanic. It's like Niagara Falls is flying through the wall, and it's not even our water lines, it's the neighbors. And so, like, I've cracked my foot. All of this is chaos happening. So in 48 hours, we're back in Tennessee, staying at her dad's house. And I can't hold Ellie. I have to have surgery on my foot. Or Abby. That's what happens. They forget their names. They love them. That's all. I love them. That's all that matters. No.
They love them.
But I couldn't hold Abby. It was just really stressful. And then it was like, okay, I finally start getting on my footing, literally. And then the election ends, and they're like, hey, man, we thought things were going to go one way. It went this way. So, you know, you're already working remotely. So we're just going to end your contract. Best of luck. So it was just kind of a lot, like all at once. So it was literally like we moved in like basically beginning of August, get through the election. This was 2016, the Trump election. Get through, 2016. That ends. You go on that big high, feeling like this is amazing. That reality hits you again. So it was just kind of a lot, just, all at once.
But all that to say that was probably the lowest point of our marriage and even our parenting and just everything.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
it was very,
the
very
struggle bus.
difficult. It was a very hard season. But we came out on the other side.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Can you state your name and where you're from, please? Thank you. No, I'm just kidding.
So everybody knows you. Everybody knows your personality. Before kids, you were the life of the party, up for anything. Super fun. And having kids, I have seen how it's isolated you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken some of your personality a little bit in some ways. That's very common for a woman, but I don't think this is discussed for fathers. And so can you just go into a little bit of detail of that, just of like how you are finding who you are now as a father and go, not being isolated and what you can do for yourself. What?
I don't know. Annika's teasing at me the whole time you're asking questions. Like,
I'm just I'm just happy to be here.
I think it's real easy. I'm kind of like, you get head down. We're going to do this, and mow through it and get it done. But yeah, for a long time, it's so busy. Our son goes to school an hour away from where we live. There's just a lot going on, and it's really easy to kind of like, okay, Annika likes to dance. She does ballet, everyone easy. She does ballet and teaches ballet and does all this stuff. And it's like a big part of her life. So I make sure she can do that. But that means she's gone for like, sometimes like, if they've got rehearsals, it could be like 10 to 20 hours a week at night. So, which is not bad. It's just something that's important for her. So I always am like, yes, you guys go do that. And then I'm kind of like, well, I'll watch 5 minutes of like this NASCAR race, and that'll be my me time. And I'll do that while I'm working my job. And so it's really easy to kind of do that because you want to make everyone else happy. And then you're kind of left with okay, well, it is what it is. And for me, when I turned 17 and 18, I really got into working out, and that was something I loved so much to do. Got married. She introduced dessert into my life, which was great and also bad. But I kind of got out of fitness a little bit, and then it's really weird. This is like a really good question because when did we start doing the British chick workouts?
During COVID last year.
No, but recently.
Just a couple weeks ago. It was after I had Azariah.
Yeah, I felt like we started in March. But I started doing this. I was like, I want to start working out more. You know, I'm 33 or about to be 33 at the time. I was like, I got to start working out more. I want to get back in shape. So I started doing these at-home workouts, and I really liked it. And it was weird. I kind of like circled back to like feeling like, you know, that time when I first started working out again, when I was in this little Baptist church by myself working out in this church gym for hours, you know, and loving it. And so then I was like, well, I'm going to start going to the gym again. I started going to the gym. So for me, that's really helped me like have some me time, be able to like really, you know, kind of get, you know, my discipline and focus in order. To me, it's like, in order to have those many times, you got to be disciplined. And for me, going to the gym or something is like that. So that's kind of something I've picked back up doing. I've been really enjoying it and am trying to make it kind of like my thing. And she's really supportive about like me getting to go do that because she knows it's kind of like give and take. You know, she knows, you know, make sure she can get to her dance stuff and those things she wants to do. For the new people that are joining, hi, everyone. I'm Josh, Annika's husband.
I want to say real quick. So if you are a dad, you need to make sure that you do that and you find that time in your schedule, and you have to be disciplined with it. I told Josh before I leave for dance, there's a ton of stuff I have to do or that I choose to do to make it as easy on him as possible before I leave. And the same with him. Like if you're going to be gone and have separate things, like you just have to be disciplined and kind of prepare and think ahead of time. And it makes it easier on your spouse, on your children, on your daily schedule so that you can keep up with doing things you love and enjoy and not lose yourself. But do find the time for that. Yeah.
And I think you got to have some kind of structure in your life. Like, even if you're like, for me, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm not like a big journaler or anything, but you've got to have some kind of like plan for your day and how you're going to do those things. Otherwise, it'll get away from you and you won't have it, you know? So I think it's really important that you've got to figure out, number one, what is that passion, that thing you want to do? Is it healthy? You know, and is it productive? So for me, it's kind of like, I love sports and I love like, you know, getting back into fitness and working out. So it was kind of like, that's what I wanted to make, I think. So that's what I'm doing right now.
I think too, you know, everybody's personality is different, like you're saying, and like you do really well when you're out.
Yeah.
And like even working from home, like if you can get out to a coffee shop, you know.
I'm an extreme extrovert, and I've found like reading about extroverts is we feed off the energy of like being around people or crowds. And so working from home kind of can suck after a while, because for me, it's kind of just like, you know, unless I have a lot to do, unless it's like crazy and I got to hit a deadline, but I feed off like getting out of the house. Cause if I don't, it's kind of like my batteries run low. But I love, like, it sounds weird, but I love like little interactions. Like when you're scanning the gym, hey, what's up? How you doing? Boom. You know, the little like things like that.
Yes, he does.
Kind of like, you know, keep you going, you know? You never know whose life you might change, though, you run into.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love that you're saying this, because I think a lot of dads are losing who they are. And I think it's because they're trying to make their families their everything. And you are supposed to do that, but you're not supposed to lose like who you are.
Yeah, and you can't, because it's a dangerous thing, because we've talked about this is one day we love our kids and we give our kids our all, but one day they're going to be gone. Like they're going to be in college, Lord willing, or whatever they're doing. And then it's like, do you really want to look at your spouse 20 years from now and be like, who are you? Like what?
Yeah.
Like all they did was take care of kids together. And I think that's why a lot of people split when they're older, is like you finally have that alone time. And you're kind of like,
I don't even like you.
It's like, geez,
Yeah.
you know, like we made it through dinner and stuff. I didn't realize like you suck. So it's kind of like, you know, I think that for us, it was kind of like, hey, let's like make sure we get our own stuff too, but then also hang out, you know, together and really make sure we have that couple time too is really important.
I love it.
Yes.
All right, Raina.
So, Josh, what does it look like at night, your night routine? When you're praying for your kids,
No.
what does that look like? Because, me being a single mom, I'm pulling 2 roles.
Right. It's hard.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Because, I struggle with schedule, and I know you guys have this all worked out. So
No.
what does your job look like at night with your kids?
What is my job? So, we kind of, for me, I was talking to my cousin. He was like, well, what time do your kids go to bed? I was like, well, we try to hit 7:30. And if I go over to 8, it's okay, especially for in the summer. But so like in my mind, I set like an end I have my deadline, which is 7:30 or 8. And then I work my way back. And so we eat dinner, and then it's kind of like we do toothbrush, we tag team, who's going to brush teeth, who's like helping a kid get jammies or whatever. And it's kind of like, it's honestly, there's nothing crazy about it. But what we try to do is we pray, with each child. And one of the things we do is we pray that the Lord will bless them and keep them. We pray that blessing over them every night. And then I started this saying, and I can't remember where I heard this, but I told her when we had Abigail, and it kind of hit me. I was like, my job is to have her so prepared for life that she's like a strong woman, but loves the Lord. And she's not like a feminist or anything crazy. Wow, that's going to get clipped one day and put out there. But just like a strong, godly woman that doesn't feel like, she necessarily needs anything else in her life, like a man to hold her up or anything. And so it kind of like got me thinking. So my big thing is, no matter how crazy the day is, we try to end the day with praying with them, praying that blessing over them. And then I look at them and I say, what are you? And they look at me and they say, I'm big, I'm strong, I'm confident, and I can do anything because I have the Holy Spirit inside me. I'm like, that's what you are. And so, we recite that when they go to school, when I drop them off, or they go to like camp tomorrow. Abby's going to camp. That'll be like one of the things, say, what are you? So like, and she's like, I got this. And it's kind of like our thing. So that's to me really the big pillars I try to hit. There's some nights it's chaos, but when it's that time to lay down, we just try to always make sure those 2 things.
I love that.
Me too.
He does so much better than me because I'm like a stickler for time. And if I see that it's like 8:01, I'm like stressed. I'm like, good night, love you, good night. But Josh will sit in there and he'll play with them, he'll wrestle with them, he'll talk to them. You
gotta live a little,
I know, but I'm like, I can feel the clock just like getting away from me. He is really good at like being super intentional at bedtime. He'll lay in bed with them. Abigail's bed's a little broken right now from that, maybe. But.
Sorry for the light.
What?
Her bed, like I laid on it and I was talking to her and it went kapow, and she looked at me like, I was like, well, maybe.
Oh no!
But he'll crawl in there with them and stuff, so it's sweet.
I love that.
All right.
And props to you, Raina. That's tough to do it all by yourself.
Thank you.
Tough. It really is. Mom did it solo for a while too, so we know.
Yes. It's only been 30 minutes. We're good. I have like several that I still want to ask. You are the only income for our household.
Wait, for real?
Do you sometimes?
No.
I get paid to teach dance, but it's not enough to justify anything. But you are the only income for our household. Do you sometimes wish that I worked outside of the home to take some of the financial burden off of our family?
No, because I think growing up for me, Mom always was teaching. And when it was 7th grade, I think, she decided she was going to stay home. And I don't know, her and Pops, whatever they had worked out, but she was like, hey, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to teach anymore. And to me, I was like, this is the best year of my life. Like, Mom picks me up from school. We hang out. This is fantastic. Because I was always, not that it was bad, but, for a long time we'd get home and we'd like do our own thing because everybody was working, which was fine. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was just cool to have that experience. So I always kind of I always felt like that was what I wanted to have with my kids, is I'd rather have that. So I've never really been like, why don't you go get a job? You know.
And I want to say this too, because like right now, Raina has to work. Like she's the only one, and there are a lot of families who both parents have to work or feel like they have to work. And I just want to say that really pray about it and hear from the Lord, because for us, it honestly doesn't financially make sense for me to stay home. I should be working. Like if you were to just look at it from the world's point of view.
Well, it's a give and take, because I mean, if we were both working, our childcare bill would be like $10,000. But so it's like it's a give and take. But I think the biggest thing is you got to find, like she was saying, kind of like your like your own speed with it. Because I mean, there was even a season where I wasn't working and you were working. So
I was just going to say to trust the Lord in that process. If he asks you to do something that is uncomfortable financially or doesn't make sense financially, to just trust him, because he'll carry you through that no matter what.
It's true, man. We need everybody to share this. I want to get these views up, guys.
Are we low views? I can't even see.
We're at 3 right now.
Babe, I promise it doesn't matter.
I'm just kidding, guys.
Whoever's watching, it's
Needs
perfect.
to hear it.
Whoever sees it later, it's perfect.
No,
A lot of people just scroll and they come back, watch it, you know.
You see this handsome face in the comments or whatever. You wanna pause. No, I'm just kidding. See, we just got a viewer. I'm just kidding.
Wait.
Who's Rena?
Sympathy view.
That's a little ego boost. Okay, Laurel. Wait, did I just ask a question?
You did.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your turn.
Okay, so I can relate with this, with what I'm asking you. Yes. So for those of you that don't know, we are brother and sisters. That's what I'm saying. But so growing up, you know, we had not the best dad situation. We did have wonderful pops who came in and stepped in. But do you find yourself wanting to, or being the father that you didn't have, and then it being stressful because you're trying to have certain scenarios, certain things that you didn't have growing up? Because I feel like sometimes when I think about when I'm going to have a child, I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And I think, well, yeah, I want to do that, but what if they don't respond the way I want? Would it be kind of like hurtful, or, you know, just different things like that? I know, like sports, you're really into it. Solomon sometimes would be like, the Titans suck, I hate this, I don't want to be here, you know? And that was like your dream of having a son that would want to go to a game with you. So just things like that. How was that, and how is that for you, and how do you overcome it?
I don't think it's anything to overcome necessarily. I feel like for me, it can be easy to play like the what if game, or oh, I wish this would have been like that. But to me, having kids is like the ultimate fresh start. And now I've got this entire pile of like book of like how I've seen things and how some great, some not so great, and how I wouldn't want those things to be done again. And so now for me, I'm like, I have the chance to give him where I feel like, you know, if there's any holes that have been created in, you know, my heart, so to speak, I can make sure that like my actions don't create holes in his. And that's kind of, you know, and you got to be careful though, that you don't project wanting this perfect thing on your kids, because then you get focused on like, it's just like when she was having Solomon, she was in this crunchy mom, like gonna be like, first it was no epidurals, and it was this, and it was that. And then finally the doctor was like, listen, lady, do you want to just have a healthy baby or what? And she was like, yeah, that's my goal. She's like, then we're rolling this way. And so, and that's kind of how it is. It's like, I really just want to have a healthy relationship with my kids. And if that's my end goal, then, you know, the biggest thing I've got to learn is like, you know, you just said I love sports. So it's kind of like, I've seen how like other people have maybe thrown an interception or dropped the ball or fumbled the ball. Now I know how not to do that. So it's like, I can avoid those things and those pitfalls in my own life and their lives and make sure that doesn't happen again.
I think too, it helps it to be healthy, because I think when you're loving your child based from a place of like, I didn't have this, so I want them to have this, it's like, it becomes really unhealthy and stressful.
yeah, you could really like, I want to do this, or we're gonna do this as a family. You know, you're gonna love it, and things come around. Like for a long time, you talked about going to the Titan games or whatever. Solomon wasn't interested, but he was really young. You know, he was young. It's a long time for a kid to sit there. But now, he came to me and was like, "Hey, I want to start playing football now. No one freak out. He's going. It's not contact, but he's going to his first football camp. You know, at the end of the month." But that was something like he kind of came to me like, and you know, I would love for my kid to want to do that. You know, but it's like, can't force you to do that. But it was just kind of, it naturally happens. So sometimes you could really force and want to do something and it go really sideways. But if you kind of just let the Lord do it, you know, and kind of get out of the way, like most things in your life, our lives, and just kind of like let your relationship grow, let the Lord work, you know, those things will happen. Whether, you know, and that football thing is just an example, but ultimately like the healthy relationship and things like that, you know, as long as that you keep the Lord at the center of your life with that, then you'll be doing your job as a dad and you can avoid those pitfalls.
And you're really good too at
Thank you.
At getting into their world of what they enjoy, like because Solomon also plays the violin, so you're super encouraging with that, and just like Abigail with dance or whatever the thing is, or he even his love of Legos, because you didn't really play with Legos growing
Actually,
up.
fun story. Tonight I looked at him, I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't build stuff like this." And he goes, "Oh, I know, Dad." And he goes, "Yeah, I figured that one time we were playing together and your spaceship just didn't look as good." And I was like, well, it's true. I was like, that's why I'm really impressed. I'm really proud of you. This is really cool. I can't do this, you know? And so it's funny too. Your kids know stuff like that. Like, you know, they're like, hey, you know, I get it. Like they're smarter than you think
They really are. Yes.
Speaking of,
Especially their kids.
you need to get that baby.
I think he's okay right now.
I was wondering where he was. Is he sleeping?
He's starting to kind of get up.
Just toss him.
I'll get him in a minute. But Raina, you can go ahead.
Okay, Josh, this is my last question for you.
Okay.
Unless the
You
Lord
can ask more if you want.
Well, I will if I feel the need. So
How has Stephen Miller not asked a question yet? Are you even
Yeah,
watching
you
still,
guys.
Stephen?
Audience, we want to hear from you.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm just ashamed if you're still watching. I'm 42 minutes into this, haven't had a question from you. That's ridiculous. I'm going to have you come on here. All right, go ahead, Raina.
what impact did your mother have on you
Me,
as a father and as a man who follows after Christ? How did she impact you in your life?
for me, Mom, I think Mom is like, she's like a superwoman. She's kind of done it all.
She was a lot to live up to as a wife and a mom.
You know, there were so many things Mom did, like in the house even, that I just thought was like normal. And it's like, you know, you meet other people and they're like, oh, wow, okay. You know, like little things, like we can have like an easy meal. Like you're like, okay, like this is going to be like I call them like mail it in meals. Like tonight we had a mail it in meal. We had fish sticks. Okay. That's a mail it in meal. But,
you're not supposed to share that to the
but
public.
there was a side Caesar salad, and California rolls. It was like we're at the Golden Corral, guys. But so we but Mom would even do crazy stuff like that. Like we'd have a mail it in meal. Mom's like, it was like in there like Gordon Ramsay and something, you know. And to me, I just thought that's how life was. But that's how she was with like everything, though. It was just kind of like a lot, you know, in all areas of life. Like if we wanted to do sports, I remember I wanted to learn how to play football. And I remember literally, you know, Pops would show me some stuff too. But Mom, which she, you know, I don't know if she bought it or if Pops bought it, but they bought me a Michigan football video on like how to play like offensive line. And I remember Mom getting down with me and like showing me how to block and be like, you got to be more manly than that. Come on, you got to bring it. Like, you know, and hit me back. Like, you know, like, and so
And his mom is 5'3".
Yeah. And so I just feel like Mom like picked up a lot of slack in a lot of areas before, you know, Pops came along. So for me,
I hope she's watching.
I think Mom, if you're not, catch the replay. 42 minutes in, we hit this. So you just fast forward, you can get to your spot. But no, it was just to me, yeah, she's just kind of like, I think of her as like Superwoman. And it's funny. I think your personality is a lot like hers. So the older you're getting, I'm like, she'll talk to my mom and they're like the same person kind of. So it's kind of interesting how life works out.
Yes. Well, that is a compliment for sure. Okay. I'm trying to behave. Okay.
Come on, Miller.
So I feel like I need to get Azariah.
Bring him on. Let's let him make an appearance.
Okay, let me get him. And then
Do you want me to read the question to myself and I'll answer it?
No, let me just get him real quick.
I'll tell you what, guys. I just want to take a minute and thank our sponsors. There's nothing I enjoy more during a Q&A session like a LaCroix. Now, these are refreshing and delicious. You can get them at your local Publix, Walmart. Get a pickup. They're amazing.
You're so crazy.
I prefer the cran raspberry.
Oh, we have
that in our fridge too, as well.
The last live, you guys, I was so thirsty. I was literally texting Josh, like, bring me a drink now. I need a water bottle now. I'm so thirsty.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I think Azariah is okay. So.
Yes.
Hi. So you have been in that place before of feeling just like,
where is this place? No, I'm just kidding. Good.
I'm getting there. Like your battery is drained and every day is a struggle and just feeling all the weight on your shoulders of your job and your home and your finances and trying to figure out what you need to do and feeling isolated and alone and just misunderstood and like nobody even sees you or understands what
Nobody loves me.
Shut up. I'm being serious. And like nobody, I don't know, hopeless, I guess, feeling hopeless. And so you've obviously come out on the other side of that. So if anybody feels that way with their job, their work, their family, their finances, their marriage, even, like what advice would you give to them on how to get through that season? Because it was very, very difficult, very depressing, oppressive. It was a struggle.
Yeah, well, I think I'm a very upbeat, internal, optimistic person. I'm always the glass is half full. If my team's losing 31-7, I'm going to outline how we can come back and win.
But you were not at this time.
Right. So that's what makes it kind of like, oh, you were sad for a moment. So like it makes it seem like more dramatic. But I was thinking about this because I heard you say this question or when y'all were pre-gaming tonight. And
you're in our pre-game.
I'm sorry, your production meeting. Calm down. It's the production meeting. That's what I meant. I would say stop. Like stop trying to figure out what you got to do. Stop trying to figure out what tomorrow's going to be. Get over yourself and learn how to move on. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times for me, I was like, okay, I want to start this business. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. And then it's going to do that. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And just no, don't do any of it. Stop. And I think the best thing you can do in that situation is to sit down and pray and then read this book, George Mueller's Life. If you don't own this book, get this book because it'll really like teach you to take things a day at a time. So stop trying to figure it out and sit down, get alone and pray with God. Sometimes the best thing you can do when you're running 100 miles an hour and you get forced to stop or slow down or God calls you to do that is to sit down in silence and get alone with him and realize, this is what it's about. And out of that time, out of that silence, out of that rest, you'll find peace and you'll find your purpose. And that's how those things will move forward. And I think that's what the reason why I showed that book is that's what his life was about, was he literally took every day at a time. He was like, God, today, this is the plan. This is what I need. I know you'll provide this for me. I know you'll help me. So I think if we'll shift for that mindset of like, taking a day at a time, God will help you get through it. And that's kind of scriptural too, where he's like, don't worry about tomorrow. Like, let's win today. I mean, it doesn't say let's win today, but that's the new Josh translation. But
yeah.
And I was going to say too, to that don't think that life has to be that way. Don't think that you have to work at a job that you hate, or that you have to be miserable every day, or you have to be a slave to your bank account every day. Don't give in to that lie that is the life that you are meant to live, and that's as good as it's going to get. And to be open and honest, like with your spouse or your pastor or anybody in your community or your circle who will lift you up in prayer, because you need that. You need other people to help lift your arms during that moment.
Yeah, and I think too, for me, I kind of like live I'll share one of my favorite sayings here in a second, but it's kind of like when you get alone with the Lord on that, is really realizing that it's okay to feel frantic. It's okay to feel like the pressure of it all. It's kind of natural. You're going to feel it. If you don't, I'm kind of worried about you, because it's just kind of comes with the territory, but it's how you process it. Right. But all those things you can give those burdens to God, and it can really help you process it. And I think, you were just talking about not being stuck in a job you don't like or something. I think all of us, life is so short, and before you know it, you're in your 40s or in your 50s. So for me, my big thing that I've been learning is, number one, get along with God, understand your identity. See what I did there? Understand your identity. Because I think a lot of people don't understand that, the first thing we're called to be is like a son or a daughter. And if you realize who God sees you as, number one, that's how you start, things start coming together. When you realize like how God sees you, you're like, okay. And then, discovering your purpose from what the Lord has you. For me, I always say, I'm going to get alone with the Lord. I'm going to pray. And listen, guys, look, my life is busy. It's crazy. I'm not saying go have like a 6-hour pray-a-thon, or go to a prayer meeting where people are flawing and all this crap for hours. Listen, I can't do that. It's not realistic for my life. But get it into your own schedule where it works, and God will
I would
meet you.
say none of that is bad, though, you guys.
No, I'm not saying that. Well, yeah, and listen, if that offended you, then listen, I'm sorry. Y'all just gotta we gotta wear big boy pants. But but what I'm trying to say is, get along with God. You'll discover that purpose, and all that other stuff will fade away. But also, if you're in a job and you feel like it's like dead end, or you feel like it's not your purpose, dream big and dare to fail. Don't be afraid to step out, and trust God to meet you there, and I think God will, embolden you to, get there. And I also feel like he honors faith like that. If people say like, hey, I'm going to go for this. And obviously I'm not just saying do something nuts, but pray about it and, dream big for it. I think God has big plans for us all. For many are called, but, I think one of the greatest things I heard Damon Thompson say was, everyone says for many are called, but few are chosen. But he's like, when you break it down, it's for many are called, but few choose. So it's like, what do you want to wake up at, in your 70s and be like, I wish I would have done that. So that's kind of one of the big things I try to live on.
I love it.
Love that.
I love you.
Well, I'm not going to ask a question. I think we should kind of shift and go into prayer.
That was an Eddie James reference.
So,
hi, Raven.
Hey, Raven. Hope you had fun on your trip.
but I wanted to share just a little something that happened yesterday, and it ties in with this. But yesterday I'm a makeup artist, and I normally do weddings and shoots and things like that, but this was very different. This lady asked to get her makeup done for a funeral, and I found out it was for her daughter. So it was really a sad thing. She came to my house, and I could just feel like the sadness all over her. And so she was telling me about her daughter, and her daughter was 28, and she found out that when she was like in the 8th grade, she started doing drugs and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, she died from an overdose, and through her passing, her mom found out that she was pregnant too. So she was like a month and a half pregnant. So it's just this whole sad thing. And she has her phone, so she's finding out all this other stuff too.
Oh my gosh.
But I asked her what caused her to start drugs, and she said the lack of a father. And I've just been thinking about that. I've been thinking about tonight. I've been thinking about my own personal life, the choices that I made, Raina, Annika, all of us. And I think that is so true. And it's sad because we live in a time where fathers just are not fathers, and they didn't step up to the plate, and they chose lifestyles. They chose to walk away. They chose just all kinds of things. Or maybe you have a father that stayed, but he said terrible things to you. But I think it's really important that we take the time to just pray. And if you are on here tonight and you are struggling with, everyone says, the daddy issues, please comment your prayers, because Josh is someone who has overcome a lot. And he knows what it's like. And so I want you to pray, Josh, tonight for those watching and that will watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, you're called to provide, but you're more to your kids than just a paycheck. You gotta take care of them. You gotta be there for them. And for me, when we had Abigail, I don't know if I heard this somewhere. Maybe I made it up. I don't know. But along the way, there was this saying that's kind of stuck, and it's, your little girl, the first person she ever falls in love with is going to be her dad, kind of, and I don't mean that in a weird way or anything, and then she's going to spend the rest of her life trying to find that other, you and someone else.
Yeah. And
so, and the first time, the first heroes, and what life should be like for a man is what the son's going to look at, at their dad. And then they're going to try to replicate those things in their own life. So you can really screw it up. And, you could set your daughter out looking for the wrong thing, or you could set your son out on the wrong path doing the wrong things. Or you could really try to be very intentional on how you could be the best dad you can be and give them what the Lord is really trying to do in their life. And I'm by no means perfect or anything. I'm a big work in progress. But why are you smiling at that, man?
We all are.
But, that's just, I think that's something to remember. I think it's good to keep in perspective, It's easy to forget in the day-to-day and the grind of everything.
Yes. Absolutely.
I think, too, I have found that for someone, too, who may be watching and maybe your dad has never been good to you or whatever, and you're watching this and you're like, this is not going to be my story. You can find healing, and you have a father.
Yeah,
and God is your father.
What's cool about that is people you'll hear in church all the time. They're like, well, he bore all of our sins and all this stuff, and he went through everything, so he knows what it's like when Jesus was on earth. But really, if you think about it, Jesus lost his earthly father in his life at some point. So
That's
he
good.
was fatherless on earth to a certain extent,
Yeah.
and where he had to rely on God the Father to fill those needs. And so, yes, that relationship he had with Joseph and that earthly dad of course he knew, yes, he was God and everything, but there was still that comfort from his dad and that relationship Joseph had with him that was gone at some point. And there was that hole in his, there was that missing piece, that hole there where he had to look up. So you really have this picture of what fatherhood can be like from God, and it's painted all throughout, the life of Jesus's adult life. So I think that's something we kind of forget sometimes. It's Jesus really kind of was without an earthly father for, I would assume the majority of his life. So that's just something to kind of keep in perspective. I think we forget about.
Yeah. I was going to say too, we talking about God fulfilling that role. We sing, every church is saying it, good father. And we sing about how it's a good song, but we sing about how he's such a good father. But do we even understand what that means? Do we really mean it when we say it, or are we just singing along because it's a
Chris Tomlin sent it out. Got to play
it. But really, talk to God, talk to God, like you wish you could talk to your dad. Call him dad, daddy, papa, pops, whatever you want to call him. Today at church, we sang a song and we were saying, Daddy, come in. And that may sound so silly to some people, but that's how personal, he wants to be your father and your daddy and your dad. He is so good. And you cannot let what the world and what earthly fathers have done shape how you see him and shape what his nature is, because it's nothing alike.
Yeah. And to kind of let, to put like show how big of an issue this kind of is in society, a guy started doing a YouTube channel, and he was like, I'm going to show you, it was like things your dad would teach you or something. I can't remember the name of it. But he started showing like, hey, this is how you tie a tie. This is how I'm going to show you how to change a tire, guys. Or like, hey, maybe you don't know about screwdrivers or whatever. It's like dad stuff, like a guy would do with his dad. Yeah. He went like mega viral, like hundreds of millions of views, like in days, because people were like so drawn to it. They're like, I needed this in my life. And it's just, he's doing like simple stuff. He's like, I want to show you how to change your oil, guys. Like, but people were drawn to that because they were like, I had this void in my life. And like, this is like something I needed, and they're using that to kind of fill it in a weird way,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely something that, people have holes in their hearts, but, God can put all the pieces back together.
Yeah.
I feel like, what is that? Do y'all hear that noise? Is that us? I don't know. We texted a couple days ago.
I don't know what that noise is. Do you guys hear it?
I don't know if
there's this
Eileen heard. I don't know if Eileen heard me, but I said we texted a couple days ago and talked on the phone not so long ago.
I don't know what the swishing is. There's a swishing in this.
Is someone wearing a jogging suit?
Do you know?
Okay, let me mute myself because I do have my dishwasher on. So hold on, but it's been on the whole time.
Oh, I don't know.
But hold on, let me just see. Let me see.
Yeah, it stopped.
Dishwasher.
That's weird. Okay, what was? I had something I was going to say. What was the last thing you had just said?
I was talking about a YouTube channel, and then I answered Eileen's question.
Oh man, what was it? I had something I was going to add with it, but then the swooshing.
I was talking about God could put he can put those pieces back together and things.
Oh, Jesus, help me. It'll come back.
He will.
It'll come back to me, and I'll say it.
Does anybody else have questions?
Yeah, I'm all yours. Or drop it. Yeah, or if you watch this later, you have any questions or anything, or there's also too, there's this funny, you guys have a Facebook group too, but like there's random dad groups too, like of like dad. So like you're not alone. There's like we're all trying to get through life, making it together. So you're not alone. We're here, so you can message me or whoever.
Yes, I love that.
Did you guys plan that yet?
No, I'm trying so hard to remember what I was going to say or ask because it was so pertinent at the time.
Well, I hope you remember it. But
Thank you.
We're at 1 hour and 3 minutes.
You want to go ahead and pray, and then I know I'll remember.
Yeah, I can pray.
Okay, and if you happen to have.
Who we got?
That's okay.
Why are people?
It's okay.
She gone. Yeah, like listen, guys, don't be a weirdo. Like, don't be that person that does weird comments. Like,
okay.
Well, like, look, we're not 12. Like, guys, you don't have to make a fake Facebook account. You don't have to write weird stuff in comments. Like, just don't be that person. Like, we're grown-ups. Like, don't. Like, see, like, you just get blocked. Like, don't be that person. But
if anybody truly does have something that they would like prayer for, then please include it.
Yeah, and for sure, any questions, and like, look, I think, and by the way, context is king is a saying I love. Somebody posted something weird in the comments, and it was just like, super childish, and obviously it's coming from somebody that's insecure, they're hurt, and they're trying to lash out here. So, and it's okay to feel those things, but it's all about how you do it, like as an adult, so like spamming comments or saying inappropriate things, that's just not the place. Don't do that in anything in life. You know, you don't do that at work. Don't do it on Facebook Live. Like, just be a grown up, have some class. But
Little life lesson.
like, come on, man, y'all. Like my Mr. Lawrence, 6th grade, would say, come on, man, have some CS, common sense, y'all. But I really appreciate everybody hanging out with us.
Yes.
And I feel like, you know, this is like a really, you know, obviously it's an important topic. I'm not the most elegant prayer in the world, but I'll definitely, you know, lead the way. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you know, Jesus.
You are powerful, Josh.
So yeah, no, I'm totally cool leading the charge here. And then too, if you ever watch this, you know, I just think, you know, this is the Father's Day special. I don't think we said that at all during this.
I said it at the beginning.
Okay. I didn't plug it.
Special.
They told me confetti would fly in when I came on.
I can throw something at you.
We can do the paper towel.
Proud of you, Miller. Love you. But did you say a paper towel?
That's what that lady at Dave and Buster's did to Laurel. She ripped up a napkin and threw it on her.
But no, I'll definitely pray. But if you're ever watching this is a Father's Day special, and just know, like, hey, you're not alone. Like, it's really easy. Your mind and the enemy is going to tell you, like, you're alone. There's all these pressures. But really, get above the clouds. You know, like, take the plane up, get out of the storm, and then you'll see that it's when you get with God, you'll see that there's going to be order and things will fall into place. So, but you got to just do it. You got to be intentional. So, all right, I'm going to pray. I'm not going to close my eyes, though, because that's weird because we're on Facebook
You
Live.
just talk right to
I'm going to be like, Kevin, zoom that camera in on my face right now. That's what our pastor did at church today.
I love it.
No, Lord, we thank you for, first of all, the idea of 8-6 identity. I thank you, Lord, for birthing this and how this is just getting started, Father. And we just thank you for this platform, God. And because it's not a platform for these ladies or me or anyone else that comes on, but it's a platform for you, Lord. And so I just thank you for this, and that we can reach people around the world live or on, you know, when they watch it on demand or whatever. And I just thank you for that, Father. And I just pray, God, as we embark on Father's Day, Lord, that, you know, it could be a time of hurt for a lot of people, for those that want to be a dad, or for people that feel like they, you know, had a father and he dropped the ball, or that they just have an estranged relationship, or for those dads where they might seem like they have everything together, but they're really just feeling like they're crushed on the inside, Lord. And I just pray, Father, that for all those people, Lord, that Holy Spirit, that you will literally invade their lives and help them realize that their true identity, their true sonship, and that for how you see them, Lord, and literally help them overcome this, God, because the blueprint to the perfect fatherhood you've given us, Lord, and how Jesus had communed and had a relationship with you, Lord. And so I just pray, God, that during this time, Father, for those that are hurting, that you restore relationships, that God, that miracle babies will happen for those that want to be fathers. And also, Lord, that you'll help guide those that are dads trying to make it day to day, Lord, that you'll help them realize, Father, that no one has to do this alone, that God is going to be there with you and that he's going to guide you through this, Lord. And so we just thank you, Father, for this time, and that you're going to heal and put those pieces back together. And I just declare peace. I rebuke stress or anxiety. I rebuke depression. And I just declare freedom over you, and that you're going to be able to walk and be the father that you, not that you're going to become the father that you didn't think you were going to be, but the one that God wants you to be ultimately. Yes. And we just declare and release that during this Father Day season, Lord, in Jesus' name.
Amen. I remembered what I was going to say, so I'm going to say it real quick. Forget
I told you you'd bring it back.
I know. Okay, so we're talking about how God is like our ultimate father and whatever fills all those gaps. Make sure that it is so easy for the way that you try to get the attention of your earthly father, or that you try to impress your earthly father, or you try to gain a relationship with your earthly father. I've seen so many times, and I've done it myself, is that's the way you start to treat God. Like, I need to do this to impress him, or I need to do this to make him proud of me, or I need to do this for him to love me, or for him to see me a certain way, or blah, 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 all the things that we do. But that's just so, that is twisted, as Todd White would say.
That's a big thing in our house. We say that's, bro. It's demonic. It's demonic, bro. It's twisted.
Let me finish before I forget. But that is not what you have to do with the Father. You do not have to try to gain his approval by doing all those things that we strive so hard here on earth to just get that phone call or that text or that dinner or whatever that we try to get with our dads here on earth. You don't have to do that with the Father. You don't have to like work your butt off for him to be like, I'm proud of you, or I see you, or I love you.
Yeah, and I think this is something too I think is really important. Is I think and sometimes in estranged situations where kids are estranged from their parents or whatever, there's been some kind of trauma. You know, at the end of the day, it's the father's job to like, you know, I gotta figure out how to say this. I think if you're someone that's like, you know what, I wish my dad would do this, this, and this, you know, it's okay to feel like that. But at the end of the day, it's not your fault they're not doing those things. It's not your job to pursue him. You know, think about this. God is in heaven and he pursues you. So how much more should your earthly father pursue you as well? It's the perfect example. And the thing is, the reality is sometimes they won't, because we live in a fallen world. But keep this in mind. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
There's broken people. And it doesn't mean God can't restore those situations, because he can. But you can't bear that guilt either, because it's not your responsibility. So I think that's important to keep, you know, as I say, keep your mind right, you know, and not get twisted up in it, thinking, I wish my dad would do this, or if I could just do this, my dad would love me more, or whatever.
Feeling flawed, maybe.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you know, it's up to the father to pursue the child, you know.
It's not your responsibility.
Yeah, and if something happened to you as a child even, you know, and that parent's trying to put that on you, that's not your fault either. You know, things happen in life, or abuse happened. And if you were a child going through that trauma, you're a victim. You're not someone at fault. So, you know, don't let the enemy throw those things on you of like, oh, this is your fault, or if you would do this, you can make it better. Because really, it's ultimately, you know, we've got to surrender all that to God and realize who we are in him and our identity in him and our relationship, because that's not how it's supposed to be. So
I want to say something really quick too. I was just talking with someone the other day, and he said to me, it was talking about just like a father's relationship with a child, and how a child can pick up that responsibility of trying to fix it, trying to make sure that, you know, you're close and you have a good and healthy relationship. But really, he was saying it's not up to the child. You know, it's not up to the child to pursue and try so hard to make this work. It's up to the father. And so if you're carrying that burden and you just feel like this is wearing me out, it's really not your burden to carry.
Yeah.
And it's God's and your earthly father's.
Yes.
So don't carry that.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, walk in confidence and walk in, like, I think you got to have, you know, your identity moment, your moment of clarity, and realizing who you are as a son or a daughter. And then that ultimately the rest fall in place. But I appreciate you guys letting me hang out with you.
Yes.
It was so fun.
Thank you,
I want
John.
you to come back, and we'll do another. I feel like we need to do like testimonies again. So I think it'd be really cool to hear yours one night.
Maybe, or you know, just like bring a word or something. I don't know, or just no. I thought you guys were gonna run Facebook ads for this. You know, I thought I was gonna have ads, and I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
We need to have an Adam and Josh night.
Yes.
Are we gonna show off all of our funny pictures we take together?
Yes, that's what your flyer would be.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's so crazy.
If you've hung out with us this long, thank you so much. And we love everyone. We love you guys watching.
Yes.
Thank you for joining in, watching.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Look, and I know I made like a Chris Tomlin comment. I have nothing against his songs. I said that earlier. So.
Or long prayer meetings where people fall out. You were just saying that you are not.
Oh
able
no,
to
I was saying
that.
Scheduling wise, I can't do that. No, like I mean I fall on the floor all the time. I was just saying like I just don't have scheduling wise. I can't do that. So
I can't.
Y'all do your thing. Yeah, you know. No, like
I can't. Okay, we should end this before.
I just want to make sure no one's like, oh, I'm so offended, you know, like, But no, I just no. Those are all great things, and you should do them. I just wish I could do them in my life, but my scheduling sometimes doesn't always allow it. But I think yes, you should be involved and go to as many things as possible.
Yes.
All right. Well, we love you guys.
Love you guys.
Remember, he's a good father.
We'll see you guys next time.
2 weeks. In 2
2
weeks.
weeks.
We'll be off for Father's Day. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you guys then.
Bye.